Hey guys, it's Jedi Lex, and welcome to the 31st episode of Beyond Tatooine, where I bring on different collectors to talk about how their love of Star Wars originated, as well as take a look at and chat about their collections. And on today's episode, I have Christina from the Ganocj or Gano channel. So, how are you doing today?
Doing
Messed it
all
up.
right. Thanks for having me on. This is fun.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a pleasure. I'm a huge fan of your channel. I've been following you for quite a while, so it's cool to finally have you on and get to chat a little bit.
Oh, thanks. I appreciate that.
Yeah,
Feel like it's just
absolutely.
silly of what I post and stuff, so to have people actually follow my silliness, it's
Yeah.
awesome. I love that. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. For people who may not be following you, can you tell us a little bit about your channel, what you focus on, and where people could find you?
So basically, I'm Christina, big fan of Star Wars and Disney stuff. So most of my social medias, which is like Twitter, Instagram, are my main ones. I mainly
Mhm.
post about anything Disney, Star Wars related. My basically I'm best known for and rised up upon, I guess, is I do themed weeks where
Mhm.
basically like I do a themed week. We actually have one going on right now, which is when this is being recorded, the Bad Batch week is happening. So
Yeah.
basically, it's every day is themed against a different character from a different Star Wars project. First one started off with Galactic Gals, which is all the ladies in Star Wars. And
Mhm.
then it's gone up to like Rebels, Droids, Visions, and now Bad Batch. So it's all fun stuff. So I just post like outfits here and there, just like fun stuff, some of my collections, some great just like good moments that happen and just fun stuff and just sharing my love for Star Wars and stuff and Disney as well. So, but I just love sharing what I love. So
Yeah.
that's about
No,
what I do.
absolutely. So what brings us all together is our love of Star Wars, essentially. But I know with D23 there was kind of a lot of announcements and stuff, especially about like theme parks and possible projects that might be coming. So what are your thoughts on some of the new projects that might be hitting soon?
Oh boy, I love Pixar as well. So like to hear about Monsters Inc. coming to Hollywood Studios, that is very exciting for
Mhm.
that. So I can't wait to see what that comes. The Villains Land is going to be so exciting. So looking forward for that one as well.
Yep.
It's going to be interesting to see Indy and Encanto entering Animal Kingdom too. So I know the Imagineers, they have their reasonings for like putting these certain attractions into these certain places. So I'm
Mhm.
just excited and curious to see how it's all going to fall out and fall into place. So I leave my trust in the Imagineers' hands for
Yeah.
all those. So, but I'm overall very excited for like the new stuff coming to the parks.
Yeah, I'm definitely excited to see when it kind of hits and where everything's kind of gonna go and stuff like that. So I think it's pretty exciting. We're finally getting some new stuff because I'm definitely a Florida local, so I've been 100 times, and just nice that we're finally getting some stuff that California hasn't gotten because I feel like we're always a few steps behind. They have a bunch of stuff out over there, but it's okay. It's coming our way.
Oh, exactly. And I like that the fact that it was a lot of world announcements
Hmm.
as well. Because I know like Disneyland is going to get their stuff. I mean, Avengers Campus is getting 2 new attractions. Coco's going to be in California Adventure as well. So, but it's nice also to see like we're going to get Monstropolis. So
Yeah.
I know Land has Pixar Pier and California Adventure and has The Incredibles, but then we also have Toy Story Land. We have Lightning McQueen Racing Academy. We're going to get a little car section as well, and we're going to get Monstropolis. So, yay for Florida!
Very exciting. Okay, so I guess we'll kind of segue into some Star Wars then. How did you become a Star Wars fan? What was your introduction to the fandom? What really kind of drew you in?
Funny enough, it all comes back to Disney because I actually started working for Disney in 2015, December of 2015, and Star Wars fans know what came out that year.
Mhm.
So it was the hype of The Force Awakens, and basically I told myself maybe I should like give this Star Wars things a try because I basically had the general knowledge, so I knew like who Leia was, who Vader was, like I knew the characters, but like I didn't know the story really entirely. So after I got hired at Disney, I started watching the movies all there. I did 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, and then I was hooked. And then it just grew more and more upon the longer I was there. First movie I ended up seeing in theaters was Rogue One. So
Okay.
it was very exciting. But it was because of my time at the Disney store that once I started working for Disney, I got into Star Wars, and then it kind of blew up, and I became the local Jedi to the point like when we closed, the nickname for me was Jedi. So it
So,
definitely grew within the short period of time I was there.
yeah, no, absolutely. That's a really cool. So did you actually like work at Galaxy's Edge or were you at like a different part of the park?
No, I was basically at my local mall working in the little stores, but we ended up doing like a lot of different events. I think I still remember to this day, it's still my favorite. It was Triple Force Friday for 2019. So it was Rise of Skywalker, Mandalorian, and Jedi
Mhm.
Fallen Order all celebrating for that. I was the one that set up the night before, was
Wow.
didn't leave the store until like 3 a.m. Came back early in the morning to get my stuff and then doing a 6 hour shift working for that same time as well. So very minimum sleep, but like it was absolutely, I would like 11 out of 10 do that again because it was just sharing something that everybody was excited about, especially with the last of the Skywalker saga movie coming out. Mandalorian was the
Mhm.
first live action show coming out, and then the hype for Jedi Fallen Order as well. Like getting to share the excitement and thoughts with everybody, all the guests, it was just so fun. And that's one thing I love about the community is that you're able to talk to different people about what Star Wars with certain things. Like some may be more into the movies than into the TV shows, vice versa. Same thing with the books, the comics, but you're willing to have a great discussion with everybody. And that's what I love about this community.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And that was totally a time to be alive. Lots of great stuff that was coming out. Did you play Fallen Order?
I did play Fallen Order, yes.
Okay, okay. Good
I
game. I
did,
like it. I'm
yes.
waiting for the third. Hopefully we'll get it. Maybe we'll get some Cal Kestis on live action, but to be determined.
Please, please, please. Give
It's
me
just
Kellen.
so easy. He's already like an actor, like it's him, like just have him move him over. It'll be so I mean, keep the games coming and stuff, but just give him some screen presence. It'll be great.
Literally. Cameron Monaghan, he's right there. Like, take him. You
He
take
literally
him.
within
There's your
grasp.
Cal Kestis.
Yes, like he is Cal. Like there's not much to it. So hopefully maybe in like a future project we'll get, some Fallen Order Survivor kind of translation into live action. I think that would be cool and a project I would love to see.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
So Rogue One was the first one that you saw in movies. Great movie to start with. I think that was a really good movie. Would that happen to be your favorite movie or do you like one of the other episodes better?
I so episode 3 would be my favorite because it was the one I kept on like if I wanted to rewatch a movie, it was the one that I always wanted to put on. It's very tragic with the end because this is the movie with the fall of
Mhm.
Anakin and the rise of Vader, but like the way everybody portrayed, and no matter how many times I watch it with Padme's death scene, I always still cry. So, but like out of the individual stories for like Rogue One and Solo, Rogue One does have a little bit of a more attached to my heart, considering that was the very first Star Wars movie I saw in theaters. So,
Mhm.
but I enjoyed both so much. But Revenge of the Sith is my all-time, like it is my favorite. I will die on that hill.
I'll die right there with you because that is 100% my favorite movie. And no matter how many times I watch it, it's my favorite movie. I even have like the poster above my desk, but I'm always like, oh, he's not going to do it. Like, he's not going to kill Padme. It's not going to happen. And it happens every single time. And I don't know what I'm expecting, but it's just such a good movie. Like, that's the movie that I really feel like hooked me. But Rogue One, I feel like, was such a good movie to like see in theaters. And it was just so cool. And now we're getting like kind of an expansion of kind of like beforehand what happened with Andor. So were you an
Oh
Andor
yeah,
fan?
I do. Andor is really like it's probably one of my favorites for shows. It's really well done, really good.
Mhm.
It's not my favorite my number one favorite live action, maybe Ahsoka
Okay.
with there, because also I'm a big Rebels fan as well. So it's basically Rebels season 5, just in live action.
Essentially, that was gonna be my next question. Is your favorite show? Because I know Andor one. It a lot of people either hated it or they loved it. I really didn't mind it. I thought it was cool, and I kind of, you know, I saw the clips of the season two trailer. But and it looked really cool, so I'm definitely very excited. I hope that some of the characters that they kind of tease, like Krennic, I hope it's not kind of just like a here he is and that's it. Like I hope he actually kind of we get to see more of his character. I think that'll be cool. But I totally loved Ahsoka. I'm a huge Rebels fan and Clone Wars fan, so I thought that was great. And we got to see Hayden back on the screen, and I was like, "Ooh, this is all I ever
Woohoo!
wanted." So I loved Ahsoka. It's probably my favorite live action show, but I'm so torn between Clone Wars and Rebels as my favorite like animated show. Just depends on the day, I guess.
Yeah, because Rebels is like I've always stated, it's my number one favorite. Because also I love the fact of the ghost, like literally that show is the definition of found family. You're taking like different people from everywhere, and you're taking a Lasset, a former Jedi, a Mandalorian, on
Mhm.
putting them all together into this one ship. And also you have a droid, our favorite war criminal,
Yeah.
together for that. So I just love what the cast of characters that come in for there, and then the introduction of like Thrawn and Rebels as well, Callus as well, who ends up being part of with Fulcrum, which we know is back with Ahsoka and with Andor with Cassian. So
Mhm.
it's like the connections. I love all the connections, but also Bad Batch is up there for me as animated as well, considering how the character arcs of like Clone Force 99, like how we first meet them in Clone Wars season 7 to like the end of season 3. Absolutely amazing storytelling between the arcs for each of them. So I especially Crosshair. So
Yeah. I feel like Crosshair really, like, especially with this third and final season, I really thought that they kind of focused on his character, and it was nice to kind of see him open up and kind of take the. I feel like he kind of took more of a father figure than Hunter did in terms of Omega, which was really shocking to see, but I kind of was here for it. But I've loved Bad Batch. I love that it ended with the Clone Wars. We got to see like young Kanan Jarrus. I thought that was so cool. And then I just kind of fell in love with these like misfit clones, and they're all unique in their own way. And of course, they're played by D. Bradley Baker, the same person that plays all of them, but they're just such different characters, and I love it. So I was a huge fan of it, and I hope maybe with how they left it off, we might get some spin-off show, maybe with like Asajj. And I don't know what's gonna happen with Omega. What are your thoughts?
like I'm very curious because it's in spoiler alert, but if you haven't seen warning, warning, Omega basically she's joining the rebellion. So I'm hoping we assume that we see her possibly, maybe in Ahsoka season 2, because there's Hera working with it, and since her and Hera met each other within Bad Batch, so it's possible that we may get a glimpse of her, considering we're going to get like a grown-up Omega that's fighting for the rebellion, while the rest of the Bad Batches on Pabu living their best lives, and Hunter being the dad that he is, being like, "Be careful."
Yeah,
So that's what
interesting.
I'm hoping for, because considering it makes the connection back to when Hera and Chopper appeared in Bad Batch as well.
Yeah, that's a good point. I didn't even think about that, but that would be interesting to kind of see her translation into live action kind of through Ahsoka season 2. That would be interesting. I didn't even think about that, but you're totally right. They did make an appearance. They kind of were friends and around the same age, so it's possible maybe they're going to work together, and maybe we'll see that in season 2. I don't know. Maybe.
That's the hope we're hoping.
That is the hope, and I do really want some spin-off with, like, Asajj, because that was very interesting, because I read Dark Disciples, and I was like, "Nope, like, she's dead," and then she popped up, and I was like, "Whoa." So
Yeah,
I'm
that was
wondering.
my reaction as well, because after reading Dark Disciple, I'm like, wait a minute, how does this make sense? This does not make
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah,
So
it
that
doesn't, but I'm also did you watch, what was it? Tales of the Empire?
yes.
So Barris kind of, like, mentions when there's a Force-sensitive kid in, like, that last episode, and she was like, "Take them to her."
Oh
Or
yes.
maybe I don't know if she said her, but she was like, "You gotta take them to this person." And I
Mm-hmm.
was like, I wonder if this is like Quinlan and like Saj maybe kind of tying into the path, but I'm not really sure. So I feel like that could be a cool spin-off, like kind of seeing her, go from there and then kind of helping maybe like force sensitive kids on the low.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I mean, they all made that connection because appearing in Clone Wars, like it the connection's there.
And they've mentioned it too, especially in the Kenobi series. He was like, "Oh,
Yes.
Quinlan was here," and I was like, I feel like they don't put these little breadcrumbs for no reason. So like, I'm hoping it alludes to a future project, and it wasn't kind of just like a off the shoulder remark. But I guess we'll have to wait and see.
We have to patiently wait.
Yeah, we do, but we do have some upcoming projects, which I'm very excited about. What were your thoughts on the Skeleton Crew trailer?
I was very confused at first because when they show like suburban, I'm like, am I watching? What am I watching? Is this Star? Because it's like something so odd to put into Star Wars. But then I love the fact that once it then makes that transition to going into space and all there, it is Star Wars. I do
Mhm.
love the fact it's going on like the '80s Goonies, ET type of thing. So we're getting little nods of like Spielberg in there. So that's
Yeah.
gonna be it's gonna be exciting, and also to see Jude Law as a Jedi is gonna be also something else as well. So it's just
Yeah.
exciting for new Star Wars projects because I'm just curious to see what they're gonna bring. Because so far, like every show that I've seen with storytelling, it's brought something great to the table, and I have not been disappointed really in any of them. So I have hope for Skeleton Crew.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, I think a lot of people were kind of taken out of it a little bit on the opening when they were like on a school bus and then you see these houses and the lamp posts and we're like, okay, but then it kind of like picked up a little bit after, and I was like, this is very Goonies, E.T., Stranger Things, like lots of kind of references. I love the music throughout the entire trailer, and I think it'll be interesting to
Yes.
see if Jude Law is like a trained Jedi or maybe he just uses like the Force like kind of willy nilly. Like I don't know what his like. I wonder what his involvement is, or even if he's maybe just not a Jedi and he's just using some like tricks and it's the kid. Maybe I don't know. It'll be interesting to see.
Oh, definitely for
Yeah.
sure. And then it's going to be exciting to learn about his character, especially because, like you said, with the way some Jedi's work, like some of them could be like a Kanan situation that he was a Jedi Padawan that's gone into hiding, or it could be an OSHA thing that it's like she was one but then steered away. Like how how recent of a Jedi is he as well? Is he really connected to the Force? Is he just like, oh, it's only a little bit there but not much? So that's going to be the exciting thing to see. So.
Yeah, because it makes me wonder if he's kind of like the guy from the Kenobi series that was kind of like pretending to be a Jedi, but was using these like tricks and stuff. And I'm like, is that what it is? Or, but I don't know. I'm definitely very excited for Skeleton Crew. I'm excited for Mando and Grogu. I'm kind of excited for all the new projects. And it sounds like you enjoyed Acolyte. Is that a true statement?
I did enjoy the Acolyte, yes.
Okay, okay. That
I
is
did.
I enjoyed it as well, which I know seems to be very few and far between, but I did think it was a cool show and I'm definitely kind of upset about the cancellation.
Yeah, but I'm optimistic and I know that they're probably not going to leave the story like open ended, that we're going to get a continuation of it. I mean, we have two books coming out, one with Indara and Vernestra, and then one with
Mhm.
Yord and Jecki coming out. So we're still going to get Acolyte like related stories. It's just what's going to happen with like Osha May and Chimere that's up in the air. So, but I have no doubt that some their stories may still continue, but just not in the Acolyte season 2.
Yeah,
That's my
I'm kind of
mistake.
thinking they might have to like get away from the Acolyte title and it might just have to be called something else, but I do have hope that they kind of continue it. I'm very excited for the books, but I just felt like they left so much to be desired with season 1 and for it to be like abruptly kind of cut. Like we don't even know what happened between Vern and Chimere, like what went down between that. Why did Chimere leave? Like
Mm-hmm.
just very interesting. And then getting to see May kind of accept the dark side and go with Chimere. And then we saw Plagueis, and then we saw Yoda. Like there was just so much I was really looking forward to a season 2, and it just I feel like was very abruptly canceled. But I guess it didn't get the views that it needed. But I feel like if they did a show that's kind of just focused on Manny's character, Chimere the Stranger,
Oh yeah.
whatever we're calling him, I feel like that would do really well. So maybe that's what we'll have to kind of move to. But I think they just have to get rid of the Acolyte title per se.
Yeah, because I feel like might have done its purpose with the whole title, with like searching for an acolyte and all that. So it
Mhm.
basically would just have to be moved towards with something else. But I agree with you, like doing one of strictly with like Chimera and the Stranger, because then this way we can get the whole story about like him and Vernestra, like what happened. Was he a former Padawan of hers? Did something fall out? And how did he get the whip marks on his back? And why did he turn to the dark side? How did he find, is it possible that Plagueis was the one controlling him? Like, we don't know these answers, but hopefully we get some of them
Yeah,
eventually.
eventually. Hopefully. I'm hopeful, but I guess we'll have to wait and see, unfortunately.
Ah,
Um
darn.
yeah, it's just definitely very tough. And I guess my next question would be who is your favorite character?
It is Mr. Anakin Skywalker.
Okay.
It is
Yeah.
Anakin. So it was basically from watching the first 6 movies on seeing when I did the watch through as like chronological, like 1 through 6. Now, when my first watch, I did it like by release order, so it was like 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3. But then after rewatching it again in timeline order with 1 through 6, seeing him and how much struggle he went through, and the poor boy was under so much pressure, considering he left his mom at a young age, goes to train a Jedi, becomes a powerful Jedi, is burdened with the whole "I'm the chosen one." So he went through a lot, and just like he fell also to the dark side, not only for manipulation but also the fact that he wanted to save the people he loved. Like, he tried to save his mother, unfortunately that didn't work out. He tried to save Padme, unfortunately that didn't work out. So, and he just trying to protect the ones he loves. He tried to protect with Obi-Wan, protecting with Ahsoka, protecting with Padme, like Rex, even with all of them. And I kind of resonated towards for that. So in Loki, like, Anakin connected to me in a way where, like, because of that. So that's how he became like my favorite too. So.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree. Anakin has always been one of my favorite characters, and I don't know if it's just because Hayden Christensen played Anakin, but I did really like him and like kind of seeing his character development, the rise and fall of Anakin, and then kind of watching the Clone Wars made me really love him even more, like love the character Anakin. But then watching the Clone Wars also made me really love Ahsoka's character. So I
Oh
was like,
yes.
I don't know. So Anakin has always been my number one, but I feel like Ahsoka is a very close like number two. But it's hard to like put one over the other. Like I feel like they're just very strong characters.
There are duos, so like literally you have Sky Guy and Snips. So
Yeah.
they're pairs.
100%. And she just like resonated with me. I felt like so much because I was younger, like a teenager when I was watching it, and she was a teenager, and I was like, wow, it's like a female Jedi. Like, I feel like we've only seen a few of them, and they don't really have too much screen time, but she's like the main character, and you kind of just grow with her. And I really enjoyed watching her story, and then getting to see her kind of make an appearance in The Mandalorian in live action. I was like, wow. And then she got her own show, and it had Anakin in it, and I was like, this is all I could have ever asked for. Like, it was so good. And then we got live action flashbacks of the Clone Wars, and I was like, this is amazing.
Oh
So,
yes. To see like Hayden also portray as Clone Wars Anakin, like also embracing the mannerisms that Matt Lanter gave to
hmm
him in the Clone Wars, it was just so good. And Ariana Greenblatt as young Ahsoka was also phenomenal too. So it literally was like I'm watching live action Clone Wars, and I just need more of this.
I do. That is one project I wish we get more of, hopefully, is live action Clone Wars, but I just don't know how much they could redo if you move over, like, from the animation. Like, would you just have to come up with new arcs, or would you kind of portray some of the current arcs that we already have, but in live action? I don't know how they would do that.
That would be an interesting take. I mean, for the Ahsoka series, they did a little bit with the Siege of Mandalore, because
hmm
especially was so fascinating getting to see with that, and even Anakin going, "I don't remember this war," because he wasn't, because Siege of Mandalore was happening when
Yeah.
something else was going on with him. So
Yeah. Yep, 100%. And it was just so cool, I feel like, to see, like, Rex on screen and then getting to see Hayden,
yes,
like, in the Clone Wars outfit. And I feel like they really did a good job kind of translating what Ashley and Matt kind of, built in the Clone Wars animated series, and they really kind of just carried it over, and it was just really cool. And then to think at that time of Siege of Mandalore, like, Ahsoka was so young and she was
oh yeah,
fighting Maul. Like, I feel like that really kind of put it into perspective because I feel like with animation, you sometimes the age I feel like gets a little blurred, but to see like young Ariana Greenblatt like as Ahsoka, and I was like, wow, like she was this young or young
mm-hmm.
looking when she was fighting Maul. Like this is crazy. Like she's a powerful Jedi. Like, and I never really put two and two together.
It really followed suit that it was probably she was the perfect Padawan for Anakin, considering they
hmm
both dealt with the same stuff. Like, he became Vader in his early 20s, if you
Yep.
think about it, with Anakin. So the fact that Ahsoka was younger than Anakin and had to face off not only Maul, but then even later on, she was still like the young in a way when fighting against Vader, fighting against Anakin again. And even like now, with Ahsoka, with World Between Worlds, she fought between Anakin as Darth Vader with those eyes, and then even fighting against with him, going against like Balin and all that. So she basically is a reflection of Anakin, and that's why the two of them were meant for each other as Padawan and Master.
Yeah, no, perfectly said. And I think the fight between Obi and Vader in episode 3, or Anakin, whatever you want to say, like that's always been my favorite duel. But
Oh
then kind
yeah.
of getting to see in Rebels, I think it's like the Twilight of the Apprentice or whatever they called it, but like when Ahsoka
Yes.
like finally goes and she fights Vader and she cracks his masks and she realized that is Anakin. Like her master is that's who she's that duel was like unreal to me. Like watching that for the first time, I was like almost in tears. I was like, this is crazy. Like she didn't know what happened to Anakin. She didn't really know she's fighting this Vader dude. She doesn't has no idea. Boom, she cracks his mask. She sees his eyes, and I was like, this is such an unreal fight. Like you could just feel the emotion. Like you felt the emotion in episode 3, but that episode of Rebels, I feel like was insane.
They always have a way to also manage to make it more, because then it's like during that episode you have Ahsoka that cracks half the mask, and then later on in Obi-Wan Kenobi we get that like reduel again between with Obi-Wan and Vader. He does the same thing, he cracks the other half, and then he sees Anakin, and then he's trying to talk to Anakin, and the way like his voice, Anakin slash Vader's voice went back and forth between Anakin and Vader, saying it's like, you didn't kill Anakin Skywalker, I did. And like that part matched with Twilight of the Apprentice with Ahsoka made me bawl. Because it was just so, it really hits you. And also with like the voice acting with Ashley, the acting with Ewan, it really like, they really brought it. And it really was, it hits the heart, it hits the soul.
Yeah, that whole like episode I feel like in the Kenobi series was like a lot cuz you see throughout this series like the brutality that Vader kind of brings, and then you see Obi-Wan kind of realize like that's Anakin, and I was like, wow, this is so like they're totally mirroring. Like it was his master versus him realizing, and then it was his apprentice versus him realizing, and I was like, wow, like these two fights are probably some of my recent favorite fights because it's just so crazy. And then what they were doing with the light, like when Anakin was speaking, it was blue, and then it was red when
Yes.
Vader, and then just like some of the lines, and you can tell like it's going in and out between Vader speaking and Anakin, and I was like, this is just like the dialogue, and like you could feel the emotion that Ewan brought, and it was just there's such a beautiful scenes. I feel like it was absolutely amazing, and I feel like people sleep on the Kenobi series, but that is probably the best thing that came out of it was that fight. Like that episode was phenomenal.
I would agree with that. Like Kenobi, I remember being up watching the first two episodes when they dropped early, and I would just kept on rewatching them again because I was just so it was. I was very excited about with the Kenobi series, getting to see more about with him, getting to see the flashbacks with Vader, and also seeing more, diving more into the Inquisitors, which I am obsessed with the Inquisitors.
Yeah.
So, and give me more Inquisitors, I am so happy.
So what were your thoughts then on kind of seeing the Inquisitors in live action from like Rebels and stuff? Because I it was cool seeing them in live action, but I felt like they didn't translate as well, like appearance wise, and I was like, oh, I don't know.
Yeah,
I guess people are big fan.
appearance wise was a little bit odd because of mainly Grand Inquisitor and Fifth Brother. I know because we've seen
Yeah.
them prior in Rebels. The only other one we've seen that did not appear was Seventh Sister, which I
Hmm.
felt like she would have looked really interesting if they brought her into live action. But I also love the fact that because the Inquisitors are just Jedi that were somehow survived with Order 66, and they were brought by Vader, being like, "Hey, you won. I'll give you revenge back," and hunting the Jedi, their fellow Jedi, for there.
Yeah.
So it was very intriguing seeing like their story back, but also seeing them in live action, seeing how they work, especially like with third sister Reva. She was, ooh. But it's like I understand with her story, and then I like the little turn of back with her of trying to betray the Inquisitors, like trying to become Grand Inquisitor, but then betraying the Inquisitors in a way. I like the little small redemption she had. So, and then
Yeah.
of course seeing like Trilla and Ninth Sister and Jedi Fallen Order as well. Like it was just very cool getting to see them in live action and getting to see like the intensity that Vader brings overall, because the fact that the people that are working with him, with the Inquisitors, that they're even terrified of him. I mean, everybody would be terrified of Vader.
Yeah, I do like the Inquisitors, and I feel like it's been cool to kind of see them sprinkled throughout certain projects. Like we saw them in Tales of the Jedi, kind of Ahsoka fight that one Inquisitor, and then we kind of see them a little bit in Tales of the Empire, and then you had Marok and Ahsoka. Like I just feel like it's really cool. Like I like the idea of the Inquisitors and kind of getting to see them in different projects and different lights, but I did think the Grand Inquisitor and the Fifth Brother looked a little funky, and that kind of took me out of it a little bit because I was just so used to seeing them in Rebels. Like he looks
Yeah.
mean, and then you get to see him again in Tales of the Empire, and I'm like, this is the Grand Inquisitor. That's the one I was looking for. But I do like the Inquisitors. I just felt like the appearance really kind of like pulled me out a little bit.
Yeah, and I do have to commend the actors like Rupert Friend that played Grand Inquisitor and Kenobi. Like he did phenomenal as
Hmm.
Grand Inquisitor being portrayed in live action.
Yeah.
It really was the appearance look for me as well, because knowing in Rebels and in Tales of the Empire the way the Grand Inquisitor looked, it's like, well, I
Hmm.
expected a little bit more like that, because they
Yeah.
low-key have done like that type of creature or that type of species. I believe in episode three, what's similar with that, or kind of similar, but I'm like, yes, I don't know, but that was the only like default I had with Kenobi, was just their appearances. But other than that, like the actors that portrayed them well.
Hmm. Oh yeah,
I'm
the
scared. I
actors
was
were
scared.
phenomenal.
Like I was
Yeah.
scared.
Yeah, I just think it was like maybe like the makeup and the effects of it, but I thought the actors did a phenomenal job, and I was like, wow, like they're really kind of conveying it. I just wish the appearance was like a little bit more like sharp, but
Yeah.
what can you do? What can you do? Um, and I guess my last question before we take a look at the pictures that you sent me of your collection is if you could have one project kind of come to fruition, what project would you like to see made by Disney?
Ooh. I know we have the stories based off of it, but I would love to see more of Padme.
Okay.
Bring. I know there was the light mention of Padme in the end of Kenobi when Obi-Wan's telling Leia about like her mother and her real mother and father, but been wanting a Padme name drop for a good amount of time. So to kind of reflect on the Queen's trilogy by E.K. Johnston about like how she got her handmaidens and the transition and how she became Queen of Naboo and how she became senator and then the whole wedding. Want
Mhm.
to learn more about with like her duties as Queen of Naboo and even like a live action interpretation of how she got her handmaidens as well. Because it was very intriguing that they all were just picked out by Panaka and be like, hey, you'll do, hey, you'll do. But just something more featuring with Padme as well, because I feel like we do need a little bit more Padme Amidala in our lives.
I
So
I totally agree. I'll take any Padme we could get, but would you want Natalie Portman to like reprise her role, or would you want someone like a little bit like a younger Padme?
it would all depend. Um, I would love to have like somehow Natalie Portman come back as
Hmm.
Padme, because I know like she again was one of the reasons on why Padme was as incredible as she was, considering Queen of Naboo at 14 and dealt with all this at a young age, plus also in the middle of having a love affair with Anakin. So, and
Yeah.
going with all there. So, but Natalie Portman did phenomenal as Padme, so I would love to see her come back as
Okay. I totally agree. I would love to see more Padme.
her.
And then you did send me some pictures that I wanted to talk about, and maybe some of your other collectibles.
Uh-huh.
So we have
Yes.
these. So walk me through it. It looks like you went to Celebration. Are you going to Japan?
So funny enough with the celebration one, I'm not unfortunately going to Japan, guys,
Okay.
but I'm hoping that next time they're in the States, maybe we'll make a possibility. It would be my first celebration, so that would be fun. Um, the reasoning for the program is because I ended up getting featured in the program as a little
Oh.
fun segment talking about the Lego Star Wars specials. So it was something very fun that I got to do. Like I gave me a good excuse. Like I didn't need an excuse to rewatch the Lego specials, but it just gave me a good fun reason to rewatch them again. So it was just like the first time that I ended up being in something relating to Star Wars and Star Wars as a whole and celebrating the fandom and the franchise overall. So that's one of my, I consider it like a little bit of a collectible, but memorabilia too, because it's something very close to me and it's something very precious and it's like a one of a kind thing that where like it's just cool to say like, hey, I'm in here. I'm in the celebration guide with literally like all these legendary actors from the Star Wars universe, from Anthony Daniels to Hayden Christensen, Ewan McGregor. Like I'm in the same book as them, and that is just surreal to like say and talk about.
No, that is an absolute honor. It's very impressive. That is, you'll have to send me that because I do want to read that now. That's really, really cool.
I will send you it. Yes, so I
Yeah.
will send you the page that I'm on.
Okay, yeah,
And then
absolutely. That is so cool. I don't know how many people can actually say that they've been featured, especially at a celebration. Like, I feel like that is really, really impressive.
definitely have to thank Lucasfilm for that. Like they were true heroes of there, and I was honored, grateful to be amongst like people I looked up to in the Star Wars community of being like a fan of their content. So to
Mhm.
be one amongst them, let alone again in this book where it's other big Star Wars names and actors, not only actors but like crew members that actually helped like work on some of these projects and stuff. So
Yeah.
it's just it's a surreal moment, and I just it's still I still look through it and I still like am like, is that me really in that page? Am I? It's like, is are those my actual words in a Star Wars celebration like kind of catalog? It's just it's surreal. So it's
Yeah.
incredible. I thank you, Lucasfilm, again.
No, absolutely. That's awesome. And what do we have on the left there?
The left, so that is the lightsaber that I got to build in Galaxy's Edge. It was my first time actually going there because I've only been to Disney twice in my life. So this was during my second time, and it was just the one of the coolest experiences of just like getting to be familiar like a Jedi and like build my own saber. Like I got to pick out the pieces, the kit that I got to choose, got to pick out my crystal color, and just like so much fun stuff. And getting that opportunity to then build it, ignite it once it was built, and it's just that like very surreal moment being like, I made this. I'm a like getting your inner Jedi feel like a building your own saber. It was just a
Yeah.
great experience. I cried. So,
No,
and I
yeah.
know others that have done it will probably react the same way, saying like, "Oh, it was an emotion. It's definitely a once in a lifetime experience. Would I do it again? Maybe, but do I need to do it again? Not really, because the first time was absolutely it was mind blowing for me. So it was so
Yeah.
cool.
I've heard a lot of people that have like gone to Savvy's and built their own lightsaber. Like, it's not the best quality lightsaber, but I feel like you're really paying for the experience, and that's what really like makes it. Because I've built a droid, I haven't built a lightsaber yet, but I do really want to because I feel like everyone that I talk to that's actually done it and built a lightsaber and gone through that experience, like they love it and they have nothing but positive things to say about it. And I'm like, I want to have that experience, but I built a droid instead for my 21st a
Love that.
couple of years ago.
I still want to build a droid as well. So eventually I'll get to there. But I always recommend if anybody's like curious on doing one or the other, like at least do the lightsaber one because that definitely is an experience you will not forget. And
Yeah.
as Star Wars fans, like anybody, I feel like would appreciate it, whether they're a lifelong fan or whether they are like, oh, I just saw this movie because then it's just the cool way experience of just like getting to build the lightsabers that they use to fight off and to fight in the movies with. So it's just that really cool experience, and it's you walk out with leaving something really cool. And because of that, I got interrogated by the First Order because of it. So like nothing to see here, no lightsaber here. What are you talking about?
Yeah. No. Yeah, I think we were like walking around and stuff, and I was like, oh, I want to build a lightsaber, but I didn't realize you had to like schedule a time, and there wasn't any times available. And then we like went over to the droid depot, and they were like, yeah, you could come in. And I was like, all right, looks like I'm building a droid today. So that's kind of just how it worked out. But I do want to build a lightsaber one day,
Yep,
maybe next time.
I suggest doing it and try to get like a later time because the way we did it, I did it is that I did it so that way when I got out, it was like dark kind of dark. So we
Oh,
were able to see the lightsaber light up in action. And then we did an after hours event that we ended up walking in an empty Batu. So I ended up getting some PhotoPass photos with my newly built saber in front of the
wow.
Millennium Falcon, it was so fun for that too.
Yeah, and I think you sent me a picture of
I
that
did, yes, I did send you a
next.
picture of with the saber.
But we do have our favorite man on the right to talk about, Mr. Hayden.
Yes.
So good. Are
Oh
those
yeah.
both from the same like day, or were they different? You've met him two different times.
So I have only met him once. The bottom photo, which is an autograph, was actually gifted to me by two of my best friends for
Oh,
Christmas one year. They surprised me with the signed photo for Hayden. Little bit upset with the one that they had somebody get it, but he wrote Merry Christmas on it. And instead they wanted like to say like a Star Wars quote like May the Force be with you or this is where the fun begins, but instead he wrote Merry Christmas. They're upset about it, but I take light to it. I'm like, nobody else probably has a Hayden autograph that says Merry Christmas. So,
yeah.
and
Yeah.
then the top photo of me with him is actually from this year. I met him on Star Wars Day of all days. On May the 4th, there was a convention in Philadelphia that I went to, and it was a bunch of different people there, but the main one was Hayden. So, again, had help from two of my friends that decided to give it as an early birthday present for me to meet Hayden. So, that
Oh,
was done on Star Wars Day, and I also ended up meeting two other Star Wars actors that same day. Amon Esfandi, which is live action Ezra,
hmm.
and Cameron Monaghan, Cal Kestis. So,
Wow. Yeah, that is. I met Amon Esfandi and Hayden. I did like a photo op kind of thing with them at MegaCon this year, but it was just so emotional. I feel like getting to like be in Hayden's presence because the
oh
night
yeah,
before I had watched his panel. It was like him and Ewan, but like kind of they were separate. So I don't know. It was cool really being in the same room as him and listening to him. And then I knew the next day I bought the photo op. I want to get an autograph down the line, but I was like, you know what? I want to have this like picture, and it was just so emotional. I walked up to him, he started speaking to me. I don't even know if I spoke back. I still can't even recollect it. He was like, "How are you? Like, it's so nice to meet you." And I was like, and I just have tears in my eyes. Like, it was just so emotional. And then as soon as I walked out, like, and they're rushing you through it or whatever. So as soon as I walked out and like actually got the physical copy, I was like literally crying on the way to the bus, like back to my car. And I was like, this is
oh,
like, I met Hayden. Like, been my guy. Like, I love him so much. So it was really cool. But Amon was so nice. Like, I did get to like get an autograph and a picture with him and like actually talk to him. And like he's just such a wonderful guy. Like he loves that we love his character. And
oh
like he
yeah,
loves Star Wars. He was just so easy to talk to. I did want to meet Cameron. I got to sit at his panel, but his line was just it's always so long, and by the time I like had gotten everything done, like it wasn't going to happen. So he's on my list to meet, but man, the two of them.
oh yeah. Like with Amon, I met him with my best friend that was one of them to help pay for the Hayden photo, and we wanted to do a Charlie's Angels pose with Iman. And once we went up to him, I of course said, "May the Fourth be with you," because it's Star Wars Day. I ended up making bracelets for them all too, so I handed Iman a Jabba the Hutt bracelet that I made, and
Nice.
he immediately put it on. And then we mentioned of doing like, oh, let's do a Charlie's Angels pose. So we would like hold up our fingers pointing up, and he would have his arms crossed, and I'm like, no, no, you get to join in too. And he goes, I get to join in too. He got so excited, and the photo turned out like very cool. He was very sweet,
Oh,
very kind, and his personality was just great. And Cameron as well was very nice and sweet too. Like he was very much very bad down to earth. I asked him, "Oh, can we use the force?" And he was like, "Sure." And then we had our hands out using the force for our photo. So he
wow.
was great. And then Hayden was another one too. I made him bracelet, and he showed me like he's like, "These are all the other bracelets from other people." And then the one thing was that after the photo, when we took the picture, I didn't realize his hand was on my back until I felt rubbing on my back, and he kept rubbing it for a good few moments, and I'm like, Hayden, what are you doing? And then I don't know why, I somehow kept my cool until I left the area. So when I went behind the tarp in the line going to get my photo, I was almost on the verge of tears, and I was like trying to hold back. of breaking down. I ended up did before I got the photo, and then I'm just like, I just met him. Oh my god, I met him. It
Yeah.
was
It
just
was
so.
like so surreal. Like you could even like in my picture, like you can see like the tears are like forming. Like they didn't fall, but they're like there. Like it was just it's just so unreal. So I do eventually want to get like an autograph from him and like kind of meet him that way. But I feel like getting a photo op with him was just like it was like a must have. Like I have to do this. Like as soon as I heard he was coming, I was like, I this is my time. Like I'm ready to meet him. And it was everything I could have asked for. I mean, I wish they let you spend like a little bit more time with them, but they're just
Oh,
like, hurry up, like get in line, get out of the way, like next person, and they like file you through. But it's a moment I'm never gonna forget.
I know it's absolutely like this year for May the like literally this year for Star Wars Day was like the best day. It was
Yeah,
like out of all days to be able to have the opportunity to meet like my top three favorite Star Wars characters, and number one with Anakin Skywalker. Like I met Hayden Christensen on Star Wars Day. Not many people can be able to say that, so that's like it's still surreal for there. No Star Wars Day is going to top this one.
yeah. No, I can only. That's like the day of all days to meet him too is on Star Wars Day, so that's super cool. Wow.
It was literally perfect. So, and then we
Yeah.
also got I also got a glimpse of Ashley Eckstein as well. So I'm like Ahsoka.
She's a sweetheart. I did get like an autograph from her and like a picture when she was down in Miami, I think 2 years ago. I met her and Matt and they're just such sweethearts and like I literally was standing in line. I'm like, "Oh, like what is taking so long?" Like the line was like not moving and I was in line for her for like 2.5 maybe 3 hours. I was like, "We're
Oh
not getting
wow.
anywhere." And then I got up there and I realized she really takes the time to like talk to you. She asks your name, like she shakes your hand, like she just, asks you about what she's signing. Like she just really spent time like talking to you and it made it like so worth it. I'm like, well, that's why the line wasn't moving is because she's actually talking to us. Like, and that made all the difference. In the moment, I was pissed. I was like, wow, like this is taking so long. But then I realized I was like, wow, like she really spent the time with each of us. Like it was really cool. So highly recommend meeting her if you get the chance.
I know she's on my list. I know Matt Lanter's on my list. I want to try to get the voice actors for Anakin and Ezra, so I have Matt Lanter and Taylor Gray on my list
Yeah.
for their D. Bradley Baker because I'm a big Bad Batch fan. It's also going to meet him too, and James Arnold Taylor. Like I saw the glimpses of them while walking through with the expo that I went to, and also Diana, the one that plays Morgan
Hmm.
on in Ahsoka Mando. Like, oh, I'm like, ah, they're so
So
worth it.
many.
Eventually, it's like
Yeah.
slowly, but
Walk and talk.
I wanted to reach like my top three. So it's like to hit Hayden, Cameron, and Amon in all one day. It was just that was a win.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Sounds like a great May 4th. So
May 4th to remember.
it'll be hard to top that going forward, but
Oh,
very special day.
definitely, definitely.
And then you also sent me these two.
Oh yes. So the one on the left is the lightsaber in action that we talked about before. Yes, I
Hmm.
picked the purple crystal. I actually picked the last purple crystal, if I
Wow.
remember in my building. It was the last one because in the back of my mind I was thinking like, okay, what's my second option as a color? Because I've wanted to do purple because I know it's not common around with the lightsaber. So, but if I didn't have purple, I would have done blue. So, but it
Yeah.
purple worked out. And then on the right is a my very first Her Universe purchase, which is the
Wow.
Hoth Leia vest. It is actually weirdly it is a special vest because it actually caught the attention of Billy Lord, Carrie Fisher's daughter. So
Wow.
the picture that I sent you is actually the same one that she liked on my Instagram. So it's really, again, like an honor type of thing to be able to be recognized by the actors and all there in the community, in this franchise, to be able to interact with the community
Mm.
and be able to like share the same stuff we love. Like, because we know she loves Star Wars just as much as we do. Like, she loves Leia because that was her mom. So it was just very it was a very like sentimental thing for this vest. It's funny enough, it seems silly, but it also started my big collection of Her Universe clothes. So
Yeah. Well, she makes a lot of really good clothes, so but that's really cool that she liked your picture and stuff. So it's always cool when they actually like kind of interact with us a little bit and like our photos or comment or whatever it is because it just I feel like it just means so much. Like we're a huge fan of this fandom and we do a lot and we content create and kind of has become our personalities essentially. So it's cool when
Yeah.
we can like actually interact with the people that have kind of made this fandom and our love of Star Wars like what it is. So
Oh, absolutely.
I love
And
that.
there was another photo I had with that vest that Taylor Gray ended up liking it, like
Oh,
Ezra Bridger as well. So,
wow.
and that one was random, but a pleasant surprise for sure
Yeah,
for there.
that
So,
is really cool.
yep. And then it led on to me doing like all the holiday pins, which I actually have then Ashley's, like I technically have Ashley Eckstein's autograph because of the pins from the holiday drops where it's all the different designs. So
Wow.
those are
Cool.
precious parts of my collection as well.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I totally get it. Okay, cool. So those are all the pictures that you sent me. Um Usually my last question before we kind of wrap up is since this is a collecting podcast and you're a collector, I like to ask if there's any piece of advice you would give to another collector out there, what would it be?
Ooh, uh, that's like kind of tough. I'm kind like for me collecting wise, I collect stuff that definitely brings me joy. So for my probably my best advice would be like if you want to collect with something, collect stuff that you know will make you truly happy. So like I have a bunch of Funko Pops, but I don't collect all the say like collections of the different pops. I just collect the ones that really spark my interest. So like I have all the Anakin ones. I have Ezra. I have Cal. I have Ray. I have I have BB-8 because he's one of my favorite droids, and I have a few different ones that I know are like ones that spark my interest. Like a lot. If you have like favorite characters, mainly surround with those because like the amount of Ray stuff that I have, Anakin stuff that I have, BB-8, Cal Kestis, Ezra Bridger, collecting like mainly the stuff that fascinates, like piques my pure interest. I love all different types of Star Wars things. Do not get me wrong with there, but usually collecting a little bit of your favorite stuff. That's simplest thing that keeps you happy. So, like, because I'm a big lightsaber person, but I have five, but I'm collecting the ones that pique my interest. Like, I build my own. I also have Anakin's saber. I have Leia's saber, which is one of my
Wow.
favorites as well. It's like, and then it's like to futurely add to my collection will be Cal's saber and Rey Skywalker saber. So, but that will be eventual, but not yet.
Yeah.
For there,
Okay.
so.
Yeah, that is some great pieces of advice. So it was truly a pleasure getting to have you on and to chat with you about Star Wars and collecting. So thank you so much for coming on and joining me.
No worries. Thank you so much again for having me. It's
Yeah.
been fun, like just doing this fun stuff. Because even though like this is our first time meeting, we basically are like been friends for a bit. Like that's what I love about like coming on talking about Star Wars. It's like talking with friends,
Yeah.
just chatting about sitting down, having some blue milk at Oga's, and just talking about Star Wars.
That is true. That is true. But before we hop off, can you let people know one more time where they can find you if you have anything upcoming that you want people to be on the lookout for, anything like that?
Sure thing. So you can find me on Twitter or X, as they say, and Instagram under Ganocj CJ. I also do have a blog that I'm planning to work on more called the Imperial Style. It was basically talking about like a bunch of different outfits that I have based off of like Star Wars stuff that I've done. And right now, what's going on? I do with the themed weeks, and this themed week going on is the Bad Batch. So when this is being recorded, it's day 2, talking about tech. So we have a few days left of there, and then maybe another theme week will be coming up soon. Not sure what the theme is going to be, but stay tuned for that. So that's all I can say.
Awesome. Yeah. And I will leave all of your links down in the description. So please make sure to go follow her, check out her blog, and just give her all the love and support that she deserves. And again, thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it. And I will see everybody next Thursday.